And there was a list that came out that I want to pull up, and we can go over that, about the the top quarterbacks in the league. And the list was top 30 players, I should say over 30. That was the list. And that came from NFL.com. And the list had Aaron Rodgers was higher than Tom Brady. Let me give you the top 4 on this list, okay?
Okay.
Aaron Donald, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Russell Wilson. I'm just giving you the top 4, and it's just the list. Remember, the top 30, over 30 years old, and a lot of people, eyebrows raised. I'm sure yours did a little bit, because Tom Brady wasn't on the top of that list because he's not even over 30. He's over 40. Right. He's almost 50. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
What do you make of this list, and do you think Tom Brady deserves to be in the top spot?
This list is a farce because when you call the guy the GOAT, how can he not be number 1 on the list? It's easy as that. It really is. Look, Aaron Rodgers is great, but he's always going to be in the shadow of Tom Brady for what Tom Brady has done, what he's accomplished with the players that he's had on his side. Really and truly, here's a guy, come on, a 6th-round draft pick, and what he's become. How could you not have him number 1? And again, he's called the GOAT. How could he not be number 1 on the list?
How could he be the GOAT if Eli Manning beat him twice in the Super Bowl? I'm still trying to figure that out. Can you help me?
Yeah,
because
he's got 6 rings. That's why.
Did he get all 6, or did the defense help him? As in Patrick Mahomes not scoring any points in the Super Bowl, as in the St. Louis Rams, who were the greatest show on turf, being held to 13 points in a Super Bowl. How about the Falcons were up 28-3 and didn't score in the second half of that Super Bowl? How about the Rams a few years ago? L.A. Rams had the 5th greatest offense in the history of the NFL, and they only were able to manage 3 points and that was on an 89-yard field goal. Let's not oversell the Brady. And I'll tell you this, Andy.
No, you're right. But I tell you what, that's the fallacy of this, because I'm glad you got that for me. I really am. I'll tell you why. Because when you see games promoted on TV, it's always the quarterback versus the other quarterback. They don't talk about anything else. And the same thing in hockey. It's goalkeeper against goalkeeper. Right. It's like if you see a game on TV, the Dallas against New England, it's going to be quarterback versus quarterback. Prescott versus Brady. No one else counts. And they always give the one-loss record to the quarterbacks. It's crazy. It really is.
No, it is, and that's how we operate, and we always are putting it out there. But I think if you were to just take away the Super Bowls, if can we concede, take away the Super Bowls and say that they're a team-achieved entity of your career. Can we agree with that? Andy, follow me.
Well,
yes?
Take away the Super. Go ahead. Okay.
Okay. We take away the Super Bowls and just talk about the players' ability, what they do on the field, and who's the best. I don't even think it's close that Aaron Rodgers has a better skill set and is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the most accomplished quarterback, but I don't think anybody, given all things equal, Andy, would pick Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers on any given Sunday,
Agreed.
Any Wednesday. You agree with that?
I agree with that. And you're right. Maybe accomplished is the key word here, the accomplished quarterback. What Brady has accomplished is tremendous. And he did it with a group of great players and a tremendous coach. Aaron Rodgers may be the better skill set quarterback, but he has not reached the pinnacle and accomplished what Tom Brady has accomplished.
There's no doubt. And that's why I say, and I'm not to say that Aaron's not to blame at all, but Andy, over the years, the Packers have gone in with subpar defenses, and the Patriots have had great defenses, top 5 defenses, right? Even the year that the Patriots were 18-0, right, and wound up losing to Eli Manning and the Giants, they had a great defense. They've always had a great defense, except for that one time that they played Philadelphia, and they got lit up for 450 yards or whatever it was from Nick Foles. But for the most part, the defense has always been there, and he has a great coach. And I think that Tom Brady gets way too much credit. This is not only a Tom Brady thing. How about Aaron Donald as being number 1? Are you
I think
cool
it's
with
tremendous.
that?
I think it's tremendous that they even looked at a defensive player. Normally it's all offense, and they gave him a defensive player, which is great. He might be one of the better defensive players, if not the best of all time. Tremendous player. He really is. But I want to go back to this Brady situation with Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't make a difference, if one has a better skill set. I think it's all in the minds of what have you accomplished. And yes, Tom Brady has accomplished more than Aaron Rodgers. Good, bad, or indifferent, defenses, team players, personnel, whatever it may be, Tom Brady has accomplished more. End of story. I would go in a different direction in sports. I would go, who is the greatest in basketball? And my take has always been Wilt Chamberlain, the most dominant player ever to play the game in the NBA. But Bill Russell accomplished more than Wilt Chamberlain ever did. What do you have, 10 championships in 12 years or 11 and 13, something
11.
like that? And Chamberlain won 2. But still, I think Chamberlain was the most dominant player ever to play the game.
I get that, but I think winning also factors in, and I understand where you are. But here's the part that I think is always negated, and I don't know why, because it's not done with all players. They have a scarlet letter. They always get painted with that brush about the cheating scandal. Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games when he was busted cheating. The Patriots were fined heavily. The coach for cheating.
Spygate,
how come that doesn't factor in? Why do you give Tom Brady a pass? Who's helped by knowing the defensive signals? Does Tom Brady get an edge if he knows what defense they're playing?
Well, he certainly does. But look, you're looking at something that's so picayune. The 4 games that he spent on the bench because of the air in the football, that to me was a joke. It was a joke. It really was. Do you think that really affected his play? The air in the football? Come on. Air would change.
But no, it's about there's a reason that there are air specifications on the football.
I agree.
All
but
right,
the
and here's the other thing,
change.
too,
It changes from city to city. Tires contract and expand in heat and cold. And the same thing when a football game is played in the South or played perhaps in Chicago. It's different. They pull away differently.
I get that, but I'm just saying there's a reason those rules were on the books. And if you remember that team that year, I don't know if they lost a fumble all year or they had 1 fumble. And you know this, Andy, a softball is harder, is easier to hold on to than one that's slick. Yes or no?
Agreed. Yes.
Okay. So there are reasons why, and don't forget the other thing is when a team goes in on offense, their ball is sent in from the sidelines, right?
Right.
It's not the same. It's not like basketball. There's not a Lakers ball when they're on offense. They call timeout. And then when the Nets are going down the other way, they give them their ball. There's no such thing. In football, maybe to stop that is that there should probably be just one football. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm hearing you, yeah.
Because that's where that's the only part that I think when you talk about Brady and accomplishments, those are thrown out the window. I get the Aaron Donald. I get the defense. What a disruptor he is. But
you're picking on things that, look, I understand they broke the rules. I get that. But you might as well throw in the fact that they play in a weaker conference, right?
They got 6 wins every year before you start the season.
Throw that in too. If you want to throw it in and put that on the weight on the scale against Tom Brady, that's fine. The teams that they play, come on. The Jets, and at the time Buffalo was terrible as well.
And Miami, right?
Yeah,
and
they were bad teams, so throw that in there too. But you know what? Also, given the fact that they're playing in a real rough climate, playing in New England in November is rough.
No doubt. What about? I think Russell Wilson should be ahead of Tom Brady. I think.
Oh, my goodness.
No, I do. And I'm talking about you got to remember, Tom Brady's in his 40s now. He had a good season. If you looked at it, a lot of those stats at the end, Andy, just go look at who they played. He feasted on some really bad teams.
No doubt, but you can't control
He struggled
who you
in the
play.
middle of the year against better teams. Remember the Chicago game that they blew?
Yes.
That's a good defense.
You're
struggled
exactly right.
against the Packers. He had 3 picks in the second half. Most guys never get close to that, of winning a game like that when he plays so poorly in the second half, but they were able to survive it. My point is, I don't have a problem with Aaron Rodgers being ahead of Tom Brady, and I'm just saying, for my money, I would put Russell Wilson ahead of Tom Brady as well at this point.
Well, maybe at this point, at his age, the age difference obviously is a major factor. But then again, I think you're just picking here. And I mean, I would tell you this poll. I don't know who picked the poll. And it was the NFL.com.
This is the NFL.com, right?
Right. However, if you were to pick personnel people in the NFL, Hall of Fame voters in the NFL, 99% of them would pick Tom Brady. For whatever the reason.
I don't think that's the case.
I do.
I think if you would have, like I say, you strip down everything and say, which quarterback, did you see Aaron Rodgers last year at 37 in the season he put up? I mean,
what about Drew Brees? He was old too. He had a great year. I mean, I think Drew Brees is a great quarterback. He's not even listed in here.
He's not. Well, he's retired now. So
but still.
Right, but I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers last season was as good of a season. Only one other year when he won the MVP, he had a higher quarterback rating. But other than that, he lit up everything. He was spectacular at age 37, and I can understand why. Tom Brady played well, but a lot of those numbers were soft numbers.
You know what?
Bad
and I'm
teams.
agreeing with you, but I'm going to put a bow on this right now. You know what the bow is? And you know it as well as anybody else. It's all about championships and rings. That's all. That's what it's all about. I don't care who you play. You can't control who you play on your schedule. The stats, maybe you had some garbage time stats, no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, look at the trophy case in Aaron Rodgers' house and look at the trophy case in Tom Brady's.
Well, but this isn't. If this was just about trophies, then I give it to you. But it's not. It's about who's the top 30 players over 30 in the NFL. We want to hear from you.
And we got some callers, Robbie. We do. Blind Seahawks fan in Olympia, Washington with Rob, Parker, and Andy Furman. Hello. What's going on?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing good.
That's nice. I think that it actually should be Aaron Rodgers number one, Tom Brady number two, because Aaron Rodgers was the MVP last year. And
what does 1 year have to do with? Oh my goodness, jeez.
No, well, if we're going off last season. No, if we're going off last season.
We're going off of
Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Right.
But Tom Brady is the Aaron Rodgers had the better year last season. That's what I think they're ranking it off of.
Right, coming into this year, who had a better year at quarterback? Aaron Rodgers, Andy, had a better year than Tom Brady. No?
Okay, you know what? Then maybe I'm mistaken on this list. If you have to be 30 and over, and on your 30th birthday, you're on this list. All right?
No, that's not it.
I guess, that's it. Tell me what the list is all about then, because to me,
the best players over 30 years old, the top 30 players.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers coming into this football season is better than Tom Brady. What don't you get?
Okay, he did
No,
statistically.
He's better.
He's not better. What about 2 years ago? Was he better 2 years ago?
He's
I don't
better
think so.
now. He's coming off an MVP. You know who he just beat? He beat Patrick Mahomes. He stomped him. Everybody said Patrick Mahomes is going to win every MVP for the next 5 years.
You know what?
He hasn't won it in 2 years.
Oh, if that's throw in Kirk Cousins too, because he's ranked top 10 in passer rating, completion percentage, yards, touchdown passes in the 3 years that he's been with the Vikings. So throw in Kirk Cousins too. All right, throw them all in there.
I don't want to. 877.
Okay.
99 or Fox.
Gabe in Fresno, Rob Parker and Andy Furman on the Odd Couple. Hello, Gabey.
Hey, I just wanted to say that I would put Tom Brady over Rodgers only for the fact that, number one, let me say I've never really been a Brady fan. But when you can come into Tampa and in your first year you turn a 7-9 team into a Super Bowl winning team, that says something. And I feel like regardless of the defense, regardless of your players, your skills, whatever it is,
you can't say. Come on, you can't say regardless of your defense. Now, that makes no sense. If Tampa Bay had the worst defense in the league, Tom Brady wouldn't have won a Super Bowl. Let's not totally throw out the baby with the bathwater. Okay?
Well, I'm hearing what you're saying, but
come on, Rob. Andy, you don't believe that.
No, I don't believe that. But
that Tom Brady with the worst defense in the league would have won the Super Bowl last year.
Okay, let's stay in the box, and the box is statistics in the position that you play. Forget about defense. Forget about everything else except what the quarterback has done. And yes, last year Aaron Rodgers had better statistics than Tom Brady, but I still think Tom Brady's better. Overall, he's a better quarterback. He certainly is, and he's proven that. But you're right. Forget about defense. We're talking about guys that are 30 and over and the position that they play. Bingo, that's it. Defense means nothing.
Tom Brady won a Super Bowl where Patrick Mahomes scored 0 points. 0. My partner, Chris Bouchard, calls him Jordan-esque. And I get it. The offensive line was banged up. He was missing people. But he got no points. Andy, how many people bet that in Vegas that Patrick Mahomes would score no points in the Super Bowl.
And people finally realize the importance of an offensive line. They realize how good Patrick Mahomes is, but if he doesn't have that protection, he's as good as anybody else. Really.
877-99 on Fox.
Joey in North Dakota with Rob Parker and Andy Furman on The Odd Couple. Hello, Joey.
Hey, guys, love the show.
Thank you, bud.
I want to start off by saying I agree with Aaron Donald, number one. I mean, he is a freak of nature when it comes to playing on the defensive line there. But I do want to say that I think there's something that's being overlooked, and it's being a leader on the field and on the sideline. And I think that's something Brady has over Rodgers that's not going to show up in the statistics. He kind of reminds me of Michael Jordan when it comes to trying to motivate guys, where I don't see that in Aaron Rodgers.
So how come Tom Brady and the Patriots went 10 years without winning a Super Bowl during his tenure? How did they go 10 years?
They made
no,
the
I'm
dance,
asking
though.
you. He's such a leader, but they went 10 years without winning. What happened during those 10 years?
No, I have nothing to counter that with. But that's not saying that he didn't lead them to the Super Bowl. He still helped lead them.
I agree that leadership is important, but people only bring it up when people win. And Tom Brady didn't change during those 10 years when they didn't win a Super Bowl is all I'm saying. So be careful when you give too much credit for people in leadership. Because people only bring it up when they win. Further.
Look at Tom Brady, who he had surrounding him. How many Hall of Famers did he play with or has he played with? Think about that.
He had a great coach, and they cheated. How's that?
Oh, come on. I mean,
what?
Really. I mean, you're a hater. You're a hater. You're a hater. You're a Brady hater. You are. Tony in Texas with Rob Parker and Andy Furman on The Odd Couple. Go ahead, Tony.
Quarterback of all time. Better than Joe Montana. More Super Bowls that count. And was the MVP for the Super Bowl.
Do you know what the list? Do you know what the list is?
For the Super Bowl when it counts.
No. Do you know what the list is?
The list?
30 and over.
30 and over.
Yeah.
The 30 best players. It's not about counting rings. That's not what it's about. Because if that was hold on. Tony, hold on. If it was about that, then Tom Brady would be on the list by himself. Come on. That's not what the list is.
I understand that. But you got to take into consideration he was with a new team, no off season. You know Tampa Bay started clicking after mid-season. They started playing better because Tom Brady started picking up the offense. This year he's probably going to be the MVP. Or was it that they played worse
teams in the second half? Is that what it was?
It doesn't matter. You can only play who they put in front of you.
Thank you. And Tony, I'm with you. You know why? Because the only person who cares about this list is the schmuck that made it up on NFL.com. That's the only guy. Okay, really, this list is the most. After this segment, I'm taking a match and burning this list. Really, I wouldn't even waste my breath reading this list. Really, it's the stupidest thing I've ever. What are they going to have next? The best players 25 and over? Come on, really.